the bouquet to the speaker. I am privileged to introduce our speaker of this session, CA Premnath D. He is a Bachelor of Commerce from Sri Venkateswara University, a fellow Chartered Accountant and DISA. He is also certified in FAFD, Concurrent Audit of Banks and Indirect Taxes. He is a partner in Sri Ramachandram and Company, Chartered Accountants, Hyderabad. He has handled various bank central audit, statutory audit, branch statutory audit, concurrent audit, and revenue audits. He is an expert in study, review, and audit of internal financial controls of PSU, listed, large, manufacturing, and private limited companies. He is also expert in forensic audits, international taxation, transfer pricing, design, review of standard operating procedures. He is a regular speaker at various training programs, seminar, conferences of our institute. He is a peer reviewer, technical reviewer, member of FRRB of our institute. He is a faculty for concurrent audit certification course, GST certification course, GMCS, and ITT. He is also a trainer for faculty development program. He is also a visiting faculty at Income Tax Department, Staff College, Hyderabad, GST Central and State Government, Hyderabad, CNDG Staff Training, Hyderabad, National Institute of Rural Development on Tools, Techniques of Internal Audit, Central Vigilance Officer, National Police Academy, Hyderabad, Union Bank of India, Indian Bank Staff Training Institute. With this brief introduction, I welcome CA Premnath sir and present before you for this technical session on data analytics.
Respected senior members, branch chairman Srinivas garu, Secretary Pramod garu, my dear colleagues. At the outset, I thank Bangalore branch management for giving me this fantastic opportunity to address on the data analytics for reporting under LFAR and IFC. So I was lucky enough to attend Sonawala sir's lecture during the last part of his lecture. The examples what he quoted on the stock statements and debtors and account analysis is all related to LFAR reporting and IFC internal financial control reportings. So from that point of view, then my session will be covering all those weaknesses, how we can identify those weaknesses in short period of time with data analytics. So to begin with, I have put a slogan like Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha, meaning we all know if you comply with Dharma, the Dharma will protect us. The Dharma for us is ICAI Code of Conduct. So if we comply to the Code of Conduct, the Code of Conduct will protect us. So what is there to comply in Code of Conduct especially? Code of Conduct, it says to comply with first the ethical standards, next is technical standards and professional standards. Total Code of Conduct talks about these three standards. And we also state somewhere in audit paragraphs that we have complied with ethical standards. In the auditing report SA 700, in some of the paragraphs, we say I have complied with ethical standards. We also say I have complied with professional standards of auditing standards. And we also say that accounting standards were also complied with. But all this compliance, thanks to the computer, any audit report today is released. We all know it is Control A. Am I right, sir? Next, sir. Control C. Next is Control V. Content God only knows. But it doesn't end with Control A, C, and V. We also have to use one more control called Control F, find the other auditor name and replace with our name. Find the other client name, replace with our client name. Find the other year name, year, and replace with our year. And so much of Control F and Control H has to be done. And it doesn't also stop there. We have to save it for documentation, Control S. And then again, Control P for documentation. All this control, and control, we forget the controls. Not only we forget the controls, the total banking environment has forgotten the controls. So what? So what if you start reading from the last part? Because the controls were missing, 3 lakh crores of banking frauds evaporated. And 13 to 14 lakh crores of NPAs only reported. Unreported, you and I know how much it is. Why all this? This is because of control weakness. And that control weakness, I keep bothering you very much today, that we need to report all this from this year in internal financial controls. But all these things are coming from where? Money supply. And that money supply of 199 lakh crores, out of that bank credit of 182 lakh crores. Today, every regulator is expecting 1 lakh chartered accountants to protect this money that is channelized in the banking. And all this is coming from 232.89 lakh crores of GDP, which our Modi sir wanted to take it to 500 lakh crores. Let it be whatever. These regulators are expecting us to safeguard this money. Let us see how it's possible. But I was talking about the controls. Supreme Court judgment on Amrapali, 40,000 crores. It has said that it is observed that there were no monitoring done by officials of Bank of Maharashtra and so on and so on in releasing term loans. Even basic checks and end use of funds were foregone. No technical requirements followed for relating to release of term loan facilities. Banks acted as mute spectator for diversion. Yes, why this is going on? Again, I say the control weakness. What control weakness? Preventive controls, detective controls, corrective controls, compensative controls are missing. Not only system, but manual. Manual is maker and checker. So what is maker and checker? Nirav Modi, Punjab National Bank. That is when I have learnt that there is a control called maker and checker. When all newspapers were saying Punjab National Bank fraud of 14,000 crores happened because maker and checker was not there. Then I remembered, oh, this I have read somewhere in my intermediate time. Maker and checker. Maker and checker means will never be a maker and checker. That is only on the paper, because both of them will close their ears and eyes. That was there in Punjab National Bank for 14 years, and that is still going on, because it is the preventive controls of system will only protect, no more manual controls. And hence, this is a time where we need to highlight where are all the preventive controls can be put up in the system, because now it has come into our area, it has come into our boundaries. It is no more NPA audit. We would have listened to Dhananjay sir, thanks to July 1st, from when Daily marking of NPAs have started, and that nuisance is slowly going off, but still it is there. Meaning, it's going to be more of control related audit rather than NPA related audit in the days to come. If we are not highlighting the control weaknesses in IFC or in LFAR, in the days to come, the bank audit will just evaporate like GST audit has evaporated and tax audit is getting evaporated. Because RBI itself will say, you see 1 lakh chartered accountants, they have reported in LFAR, yes, no, not applicable. No stories. Nothing is reported, meaning that you don't have anything, then why do you need to do an audit? Like, the income tax department today is saying, before we submit our tax audit report saying that TDS not complied, cash payments 10,000, I have submitted my tax audit report on 15th February. Well before that department is aware how many of them have not deducted TDS thanks to the GST. GST 2A data today is available with the income tax. They are able to segregate goods versus services. A particular company has bought this much of goods, this much of services. On this services, this is the rate of tax, should have been deducted. And not deducted and not filed, your ETDS compliances is talking on right hand side. On the left side, GST returns is saying this is the services availed, TDS is not deducted. They are able to say this well before we are submitting after 1 month, after 9 months, 10 months we are submitting that report, they already have it. Meaning, today bankers are aware of it, but we have to talk about more on the controls. So that controls will dwell more and more in a very detailed manner. Last year, internal financial controls paper is submitted to everyone. Am I right, sir? When is it, sir? On the audit time on your table or after you reached home it has come? Most of the time, sir. In my case, after I have reached my office, completing the audit, 15 days after that, they have sent one paper. And that paper also, 150 times it is xeroxed and nothing is visible on that, except the bank manager round seal on that, asking to sign. I asked, what is it? Sir, I don't know, some paper HO has asked to send, we have sent it. Then we have read it with magnifying glass, we have noted it is internal financial control, for which he himself has written all the comments as yes, complete. And he is asking me to sign it. Like LFAR also, most of you might have faced, by the time you reach the branch, LFAR is already prepared. If you ask from where you have prepared, sir, last year they have done, no? Last year, how is last year? Hereditary LFAR. Here, we need to dwell more into it. Okay, having said all these things, you may ask me, what about, there is an IS audit going on. What is the experience? What is the experience of IS audit? It is inadequately scoped. What is inadequately scoped? You have a GST audit where so much of GST audit forms they have developed. Oh my God, with that Infosys itself got confused and totally GST audit itself has gone away. That much of scope they have given. Income tax audit, so much of scope. Then who is deciding this scope called ISSA audit? RBI has given a broad framework and asking the respective boards to decide that. And it is not uniform. And who is doing it? It is done by non-chartered accountants as a corporate, private limited. If a CA does it, there is an ICAI code of conduct. If a private limited does it, no questions are asked. Okay. It lacks end-to-end testing covering all interfaces, input, process and output controls. Why interfaces? Because there are, to my mind, there are 14 to 15 softwares which are working at various levels which generates financial data which has to be integrated with the balance sheet. It is all manual. I'll show you as we go into it. Then there is no testing on configuration controls. of all input controls in interface, all application controls covering edit, validation checks, completeness, accuracy, reference validity, calculation, segregation of duty. Oh my God. What is this validation? What is this validation? Let me just quickly run through this, show you an example. Yes. This is regarding KYC. You can see here K Geeta, Geeta Suresh Kamath, Geeta K. It looks like 3 different customers. The moment I have seen this much, professional skepticism is raised, and then I have counter verified whether the date of birth of this one and all this and this is same. Fortunately, it was same. Maybe incidental. But father name was also same. Maybe incidental. Address is also same. But PAN number and Aadhaar number is different. Then I have called for the PAN and Aadhaar, photograph is same. What is this, sir? Violation of KYC. So violation of KYC, why is this violation of KYC is happening? Let us see. Where is this violation of KYC is happening? A name is entered here. So when name is entered, first of all, should the name be entered? Or should it pick up from a database? What do you say? Which control is better? Pick up. Like MCA, DIN number creation, you write the name and give the PAN number, it validates, and if it is not matching, it says it throws away. No, we don't allow. But whether you have such kind of facilities in PSU banking? No. Even today? No. Then what? Then what is the control they have? The control they have here is a maker and checker. If you give a PAN number, with PAN number they validate, yes, name will come. But next time if the same person comes with Aadhaar card and gives, and we know very well how we are facing, in PAN it will have Rohit Kumar Singh, in Aadhaar it will be Singh Rohit Kumar, in passport Kumar Rohit Singh. Possible? Possible? Yes. So these 3 documents are submitted at different times, intentionally or otherwise, we don't know. But accounts are opened. Then what happens? This is what going to happen. You understand, the fun is, this K Geeta is a branch manager. We have asked how come this has happened. She said, no, what happened, whenever I go to that branch, I have to open one FD account. So at that time, if I have PAN, I'll give PAN number. If I have Aadhaar, I'll give Aadhaar. Then you should have linked with CIF, no? No, my assistant has to do. Why will I do that? Now, if you don't link with CIF, the system will not ask. Is it so? Yes. Let us see that. Let us see the process flow. What does it say, sir? Whether CIF already has ID? It is asking, should it ask first of all? Why should it ask? If the person says yes, then it will link. If it is not, then one more account is created. Now come back. What is the impact of this? If a person has multiple CIF, what is the impact? What is the impact, sir? Especially in banking, IRAC norms cannot be followed. Why? If one account becomes bad, all the accounts related to that account should also become bad. If that doesn't become bad, then the balance sheet is overstated or the profit is overstated, loans are overstated, NPAs are understated, provision is understated, resulting in material misstatement. Okay. Now, we are saying at each process, come back again, whether this process is captured in your risk control matrix for internal financial controls. This is the KYC document here. It says, let us see. So this is a sub-process of sales is a process, selling a gold loan is a process. Sub-process is sourcing a client. Sourcing a client is a sub-process. Like this, you have various sub-processes here. Okay. Now, number of activities are there in this, 13 to 14 activities in gold loan process. And there are various documents, various activities to be carried out. At each stage, collect documents, delegation authority, due diligence, engaging gold appraiser. Like that, you have various processes named here. Then comes here, what is the risk? In the first stage, there can be a risk of proper documentation not being collected. They have, yes, they have written this document. Now, what documents they have to collect? They have written here. Okay. Now, whether this control, what is the control description? They said there can be a possibility of not collecting. So, what is the control for that? The control for that is collect all these documents. Now, whether you are collecting these documents manually or system scan based, the moment scan will say yes, the phone number is correct, photograph is correct, KYC is correct, the PAN number is correct, the Aadhaar number is correct. Whether such kind of preventive controls like MCA, what I said, is working, or manually he says yes, no, all right. It is manual function. Who says manual? You can see here. The bank itself is saying we are doing KYC manual. Okay. If there is an error, what is the type of control? It is saying maker and checker. How many controls are there? It is only maker and checker. Okay, let me come back. Now, if there is an error in KYC, whether that error will impact your P&L, it says not applicable. Whether your balance sheet is affected, it says not applicable. And this is how, sir, I hope you can relate to the IFC document that is submitted to you in the last year with a faded Xerox copies. This is what is written. Do you agree now? If there is a fault in KYC, will it not affect your income and expenditure and assets and liability? It will affect. Sir, how many of us have objected to this? Even I have not done it. Point what I am saying is, they are left, right and center defining the controls, right or not, give it to the auditors. Last, if you give it the day one, if you go to the audit, the first document, if you give it to this, he is gone. Because we are very fresh and energetic now. We have been listening to so many seminars, we are with full arms and ammunitions like Russia and Ukraine. You go to the branch, and that time if he gives this document, finish that fellow. He will not give it. After you go home and you raise a bill, then sir, aapka ye, please send this, no, your check is ready. Like this, please understand, like this, let us see here on how many of that is not applicable in this. There are 7 not applicables, 7 not applicables out of 16 processes. Number 1. Then manual controls. How many manual controls? Okay, let me just remove this. Not 7 not applicable, there are 10 not applicables are there. Number 1. Number 2, let us see how many manual controls are there in this. I am selecting manual. There are almost 7 or 11, I think somewhere it is 11. There are 11 manual controls out of 16 total processes. Now you can understand the way in which bank is working on one single product. This is only one single product. And there are multiple products. There are multiple processes like LC, BG discount, LG discounting, what not. So coming here, this is what I'll come back to this little later again. I have come down to this here. I have slipped out from this and came to that. So what are we talking about? We are talking about IS control, just this validation check is not proper. Completeness is not proper. Accuracy, reference, validity, like this. If you look at the IS audit, which is not made available to us. Okay, there is no scope for reporting generated from logic and completeness. Mandatory fields are not adequately defined as per regulation. What mandatory field? Again, here. Now we all know that loan sanctioned, cash cannot be withdrawn. We have read many of the sanction letters. And you can see here, cash exception limit, debit and credit, which is not mandatory. And you just leave it like this. The moment you leave it like this, even this is customized to 1 lakh crores. 1 lakh crores of cash can be deposited and withdrawn. Because you have not configured, it is not a mandatory field. While if you go into the ITR's PAN number is mandatory. You have so many fields as mandatory. It will not allow you to file a return. It says this is not filled, this is not filled, this is not filled. It is something like a tally. Tally also conveyance. Next, sir, grouped under fixed assets. It goes away. Control A, yes. And you have so many fields to be filled, it's not mandatory. In the same way, banks are also working in the same fashion. Now, whether this risk is captured in the risk control matrix, nowhere it is captured. They have just given only 16 rows and they said, okay. Now, what do we need? We need to say, we have to additionally include so many risks. And at this point of risk, it may affect your P&L. It will affect your balance sheet. Meaning it is inadequately decided. The IFC itself is inadequately decided and handed over to us and asking for us to express our opinion. So what we are talking here is mandatory fields are not adequately defined. Then master data field, completeness, accuracy is not tested. Lack of data governance. There is no checking of overall impact assessment of gap. What is actually done is tip of iceberg. The most important one is those who does IS audit will not understand the business. Those private limited companies who go for ISSA audit, no? They are only CISA, ISAs, but they don't understand the banking business. And those who understand the banking business, like me, don't understand the technology controls. And this is how the ISSA audits are done, which we are relying. Okay, going forward. Now this is what I have demonstrated as to how to do this. Okay, you may ask me, how do I check this? How you have to check this is get the loan master file. If you are able to get the customer master file, on the customer master file field, name field, you can find out one option. As you know very well, the moment you ask any file, he says, no, I don't know. The only one answer, I don't know. So then what we should ask is, Array, you have given me the loan balancing file, no? Okay, sir, I have given you loan. Give me that loan balancing. So you have CCOD file? Yes, I have CC. Give me that CCOD. I think you have given me the deposit file. Okay, deposit file also give me. So when you combine all these things, automatically it becomes a master. So you make the branch master in this way. So once you club all that into one place with uniform fields, like in this name is somewhere else, in this name is somewhere else, in this name is somewhere else, account number is in some other column. You bring all that into one place, and on this place, on this name, you carry out either sort, either filter, either format, special format, or fuzzy lookup. How this fuzzy lookup will work? So what is fuzzy lookup? Let me explain to you. Like in this case here, you have K Gita. If you sort all, then you may get Kamath Gita. Then you may get some doubt. But in this case here, K Gita and Gita K, if you sort it, K is at one place, G is at one place. How do you get it? You will not get that then. But if say what fuzzy lookup will do is, if a name is A, B, C, D, and if the name, another name is D, C, B, A, both are same, but it is jumbled. If you do fuzzy lookup, it will pull out the content which is matching irrespective of the order in which it is. I hope you got my point. Let us do that. How fuzzy lookup will do this, let us observe. Fuzzy lookup, it is not there in Excel. You have to download it from the Microsoft or Google and install it to your Excel, then it will work. Fuzzy lookup. So fuzzy lookup, it is asking what data from where I need to do it. So it is there in these are all the sample names I have taken. Sorry. So let me delete this also. Just a moment. So these are all certain sample names I have taken it. So on this sample names I will do it. I have circulated the notes also. Whatever I am doing is written here as a standard operating procedure for the audit activities. So now I have done, I am asking 1 to 1, then cust 1 and then the column 1 and column 1 of the table needs to be verified, and here you have 2 only I am taking, meaning A, B, C, D, like here A, B, C, D and D, B, C, D, A, and it can be any combination also, C, D, A, B also it can be. But I am not going into that detail because of for want of the time. I am just taking only 2 combinations here. That is what I am saying here. And I place my cursor here and say go. Okay, there is some problem. I'll just do one thing. Okay, now not to waste my time, much time. Now what it does is, you have here Abhinandan Gulecha and you have Gulecha Abhinandan. It will just place beside this. So whatever names are there, it will go on placing side by side. You can, since I have already shared it, or I will share this file what I am practicing also with you. I'll share with the branch, you can take it. Once you do that, then automatically it will throw all this, and that's how we could able to come out this K Gita and Gita K into this. This is process. What I said is, we are here now on this KYC related issues. We are talking about how to report this KYC either in internal financial controls or in LFAR. Okay, Where do we report this in LFAR? Let's go back to the LFAR. LFAR, this is where. Under 5, whether branch has adequate systems and processes as required to ensure adherence to KYC and anti-money laundering guidelines towards prevention of money laundering and terrorist finance. And this is where you need to report. For reporting this, we need to get information, and that information is given here. Sorry. This is the information you need to take. And this is the process you need to follow. And this is what, if we can do it, then you can report it under IFC control weaknesses. You can report under LFAR control weaknesses. Going forward again. Next. So this is what I have explained to you. Okay, having done this, now is there any other method? Now, sir, that fellow is not giving me the ODCC file, that file, this file is not giving, but is able to give me one file where I have name and phone number file. Oh, beautiful, you are able to get that file. For every account number, there is a phone number, sir, he has given me that. What should I do with this? Okay, let us see what we can do with that file. So you have customer, I'm writing what to do, obtain customer master with phone, apply pivot and so on. So these are all the account numbers and account names, and these are all the phone numbers. So what we can do now, apply pivot table. Now I have applied pivot table here. So let us see that pivot table. Now I'm just removing this. So apply pivot table, name wise or phone number wise I should get the data. Which is critical here? Is name is critical or phone number is critical? Phone number wise, if one phone number has multiple names, that is somewhat a system weakness, or it's a professional skepticism, or it can be a red flag. Why one person is having, why one phone number is attached to so many account numbers? Okay. So phone number wise, how many accounts are there? So how many numbers are there? Take the name and put it here. So what it say? Now you can see here, as I have done it, you find here one number has 101 phone number has 185 accounts. It's not a fraud, or we don't know. We can't even call everything. We can't call anything as a fraud. Unless someone says fraud, we have no authority to say it is a fraud, because we are not the fraud masters to decide. It is for the court to decide what a fraud is. Please understand this. We have no role to say something is a fraud, because fraud is intentional. Intention means you have to break open the brain and make an analysis on the skull and brain parts. No. Fraud is only inference. Inference means collection of data. And it has to be inferred by the judges, not by us. And it is not even by a police fellow. He can only file a case. So let's not use the word so much as so everyone is today has a fashion in using that word fraud. Any account, this is a fraud account. That is a fraud account. The other person can simply sue us. So what I am trying to say here is, having so many account numbers is not prohibitive. It is allowed, but professional skepticism should raise there. Why this phone number is attached to so many? And we have seen an example, Abhinandan Golecha and Golecha Abhinandan. When we have seen the KYC documents, each of these accounts has a different SIN number or CIF numbers. Then we have seen the relation, this gentleman is a director here, and this gentleman is a partner here, and a proprietor here, and this gentleman is a director here. So they are all naturally related. How related? Not only through the Income Tax and Companies Act definition of shareholding, but they are also related with a phone number for our purpose. Relationship don't go into Companies Act definition. Relationship go into this phone number or email ID or address or PAN number or email or father's name or whatever it is, through that purpose they are related. Okay. So once these are all related, what is the next step I should do? It is professional skepticism. Something may happen. We don't know. So how do I rule out that? To rule out that, I am asking them to give me all the account statements of theirs for 1 year. Okay. They have provided account statements of that particular person. Of that, all the related accounts, bank statements are made available to me. So what should I do? I am organizing all that in a account statement wise. Data, sort. Now it is date sorted. I am just making it to account number sorting. So I have written what to do. It is there even in your material. So I am just going to the end of the statement so that you can understand what it is. Now you can see here 657 last 3 digits is one account number, and after that you find, after that 759 is one account number, 4005 is one account number, like that all that 20 or 30 account numbers, account copy statement is pasted one below another. After that I have tagged each row with the account number, so that when I sort filter, then I will not miss whose number is this, whose line is this. So for that purpose I have written the tagged it here. Okay. Now let us observe on a day wise. Now I sort that on date wise. Now I have sorted it on date wise. Now observe, on 3rd, 25 lakhs of check is issued to this particular account. On 3rd, in this account number, 25 lakhs has come. Then what happened? Immediately 15 lakhs cash is withdrawn. And all this happened, if you look at the timestamp in the cash or bank in their ledgers, you sort it on the timestamp. This 1, 2 and 3 has happened within a time gap of 2 minutes. And there are incidences where immediately in next 1 minute of time the same cash gone into another account. Can I say that the banking funds have been misused? Now why are we doing this? Why are we doing this exercise? Because when I have taken the KYC, when I have looked at the KYC compliance in multiple ways, something else is coming out, something else is coming out. And as I start going into deeper and deeper, then I am landing into some other places. Okay, but do we need to report somewhere else? Yes. Where do I need to report this? Under LFAR. Round tripping of funds. Under LFAR. Now to report this at this point, at this place, if I have to report, for every place if I have to go on reporting, you can now understand how much of data we need to gather, how much of information we need to gather to make that much of analysis. I'll come back to that separate discussion on what information needs to be taken and how to be analyzed. It is not that I only take information. I need to have a track of what information I am taking and so on and so on. As a part of audit documentation using Excel, I'll cover that part. But now let's move on into the this part of it. Okay, why we have come here. Now what is the control weakness? Sir, what is the control weakness which has allowed round tripping? Can you identify anything on the screen here which can plug that control weakness? Yes, there is something called group. At the time of opening, if a company account is getting opened, along with the company, the director's account is there already. Now, why are you not linking company account to the director account? And director's wife account, son account, all that, they are forming part. And that director is a partner, and that director is what we have just now seen here in this example. Or in the other example we have just now seen. That 185 accounts are there. Now, what is prohibiting you from making this as a group? So what? If you make this as a group, any transaction going around that group can be made. You stop that, inquire, get some documents and allow it to process further. What made you not to do this? And if you would have done this, I am sure 3 lakh crores of huge money would have been stopped from the banking. And this is not mandatory field. I am saying again, that ISSA audit weaknesses when I am talking about, this is not made as a mandatory. Now, did you cover this in your RCM, risk control matrix? Nowhere it applies this, nowhere it is appearing. Now, what is preventing the chartered accountants from adding one more line to this risk control matrix? Now, first of all, who is that fellow who is designing this risk control matrix? And someone else is deciding it. Okay, they are giving it to us in the last moment. Now, the next question from the audience, if they are not sleeping, they'll ask, sir, do we have so much of time to do it? So there is a response means no one is sleeping. Anyhow, we all prove to be chartered accountants again and again because Yeshu Shukteshu Jagrati. Meaning what, sir? When everyone is sleeping, we are awakened. And that fellow is called chartered accountant. If we are sleeping, again, institute will say, you are sleeping. You are not awake. When everyone is sleeping, you are also sleeping. So I will conduct one more test on you again. So you all pass the exam. No, in a lighter vein. So the point what I am saying is, I am again and again saying that there are so many things to be reported in internal financial control. Now we have not crossed even the third field of this screen. For account opening, there are 18 screens and you have multiple contents to be gathered. Sir, why multiple contents? Sir, why the bank is taking so much of information? Why are they taking? This information is for management information system for decision making. So what? So what should I do as a chartered accountant? What I should do as a chartered accountant is under, you can just see. Now there is a question in the LFAR. It is asking about MIS. Whether the branch has proper system and procedure to ensure data integrity relating to all data inputs which are used for MIS at corporate office level and for supervisory reporting purpose. Have you come across any instances where data integrity was compromised? Now come back to this. Now tell me, 18 screens. At every field we need to ask 3 questions. Question number 1. Is there a probability of committing an error while entering this particular field? Yes, there is a probability of committing. If I commit an error at this point of field, whether that error will have an impact on the material misstatement of the balance sheet? Yes, it has. If it has, what are the controls? Whether it is preventive control, detective control, corrective control or compensative control? This is how IFC, this is how risk control matrix should have been designed by the banks. This is a golden opportunity for the chartered accountants to get furthermore years bank audit. If the IFC says, yes, completely, very good, fantastic, and next year there is a fraud in the branch. Control weakness, only fraud. Who says control weakness? Are look at bank itself is saying, I have all control weaknesses. Yeah. Look at this case. Indian Overseas Bank complaining to the CBI on their own. They are saying, yes, the sanctioning authority or the central office of the bank have failed to consider the following important factors at the time of process of loan. They are saying, I have failed, I am not following any controls. When bank itself is saying, I am not following controls, who are we to say that I have complied with all, the bank is complying with all the control? Then the CBI fellow will say, come. Come Baba, you said controls are following. No? Bank is saying they are not controlling. What made you to say that the bank is complying with controls? What is the evidence you have? Documentation? 230? What documentation? Where? Which year? So we need to have a documentation. I'll come back to that. The point what I am saying is, sir, banks themselves are saying we are weak. And how can I say that the IFC is fantastic? LFAR is yes, no, all right. So I'm saying, let us give disclaimers better. No, banker will never cooperate with us. Banker will not give information. Now, banker is not giving information, fantastic. But what is making me to say here? What is making me to say here? We have obtained all the information and explanation to the best of our knowledge. This is what is called control A, control C, control V. We are saying here that I have got all the information. We ourselves are contradicting what we are doing here. And hence I say, we need to have a proper documentation tool. I'll come back to that little later, okay. So before I lose here my track, coming back again, I say, if the controls are strong enough here, they would have prevented it. And there is no IFC risk control matrix written for these kind of things. Now, if you say this to the banker will now say, sir, ye ISSA controls hai, sir, why are you bothered? It is your only internal financial control. You talk about only branch process. You don't talk about ISSA. That is looked after by someone else. Will you give a management representation letter that I should not do this? Take it, put it in the file. If something goes wrong, we'll tell them this is not within our scope. Okay, come back again. So this is what fuzzy lookup I have already explained. This is again phone numbers I have explained. This I have explained to you. Now another fantastic validation, not filling. The beneficiary shareholding pattern is not filled in. No one asks anything. If you would have fed it in this, the system itself would have. So even today you go and ask them, can you please give me falana company shareholding pattern which you have entered in your system? No sir, I have generated, but everywhere it is giving some XXXX. What is that XX? No, data is not entered. Now this is, if data is not entered properly, the decision making is not coming out properly. So I have to explain under LFAR at this point. Now how can I simply say yes here? Or whatever we are writing, whatever 1 lakh chartered accountants are writing, it is becoming an evidence against us. You know, I met yesterday one chartered accountant who is a central statutory auditor of Union Bank. As per the board decisions, they have taken, this is the last appointment. After 5 years, there are not going to be any more branch audits because the biggest nuisance as on date is only NPAs. The NPAs daily marking has come in. The other related small things, it is not coming into materiality, so they are not bothered about it. And they also have an ASM audit now for the bigger audits. So taking all these things, they wanted to do away with the branch audits. Now, can I allow this? I can't allow this. It's a money for me. I have lost GST. I have lost income tax audits. I'm going to lose some. Thanks to Mataji, 200 crores and company audit, Mataji is going to remove now. Now, what is the avenues for us? Not that something I don't want, but what I'm saying here is, there is so much to be reported on the banking LFAR, IFC. And unless we fill, we can't assure the next bank audits. So for that reason, I'm just taking again and again, going in depth into these issues. Coming back again. Okay, one more thing. Now we all know because of this control weakness here, 6,000 crores have ran out. 6,000 crores of money from Bank of Baroda gone out, wherein 38 current accounts were opened. Sir, 38 current accounts were opened in Kanpur by a single party. No questions were asked. All these were opened in 1 week's of time. Now you can understand the control weaknesses. Not only that, cash is deposited. When cash is deposited, you know the RBI circular, if a newly opened current account, 1 lakh cash is deposited, they have to take the confirmation, the source of it, and then only they should allow it. But here, what source did you take? How did you know that 1 lakh is going into it? When 6,000 crores are deposited and gone out, no questions were asked, means the weakness is here. But for this, did you write IFC? No. Coming back again. So these are all affected, and this is all related to FEMA. Then, we'll move out into the IRAC norms quickly, and then with 1 or 2 examples we'll close this. So I'll take 2 types of, we have 3 targets now. Number 1 is validation of CC account, validation of term loan, then how to prepare documentation using MS Excel. So three targets we'll try to meet, and then we'll close. Yeah. Yes, I'm coming into. Before that, let's go into the stock statement, which are Sonawala sir was giving so many stories on it. And this is how you can find out. I have written what to do here. So you need to take the largest sample, largest of the largest accounts. For that, maybe 10 or 15 top accounts. And on those accounts, you have to carry out transaction based, and that's what LFAR is saying. This is what is the RBI mandate. It says above the threshold, transaction detailing need to be seen, commented upon. Above the threshold. Transaction detail means every account line by line you need to go on. That's what Sonawala sir was telling. Account statement review has to be done. And systems and process should be checked and commented. That's what is IFC anyhow. Okay. Transaction detailing need to be done above the threshold. How do I know the threshold? You take the dump of bank loans, and you can go to this Zoho Analytics. It's free. We want anything which is free only. Anything paid, I don't want to use. And this is, now it is, I have taken it for 14 days, so it is saying 7 days more. No botheration. If you register today, you will get 14 days time. 14 days means by the time of bank audit, it will be lapsed. Don't worry. Every office will have at least 5 or 6 email IDs. For every email ID, you will get 15 days. So no botheration at all. So what this does, what it will do is import data, import into Excel file, import. I'm taking some loan file, some loan MIS report I am just taking into. So I'm talking about the threshold and all analysis related thing. It has these many columns. It has these many columns. You know, when a file is given, we struggle to convert that into Excel, into text, into columns, all that headache, Zoho is taking care now. Now create. So there are 1206. There are 1206 rows are there. And even if it is 15,000, 40,000 rows, it will coolly take, don't bother. And 40 columns are there in that. Okay, close. Generate. So you are not asking any reports here. You see that. You are not asked any report. It is giving at free of cost. Now, anything free of cost, we don't have value for it. So much of data, so much of analysis. Top 10 customers. Now, as if this is not sufficient, they give so many reports again here. And as if this is not sufficient, you can ask some more commands, some more things in your English-like language. What English-like language? Show. Like in your email, in your Gmail, if you start writing, the next sentence it is prompting you to do. Am I right, sir? The same, it is prompting you to do what next. Now, to that extent, the technology is developed. To that extent, technology is making our audit so simple. Now, I say secured. That where irregular sins over. Report has come. Now it is English-like language. Now earlier is equal to sum if, comma, when I should put, after, or that Premnath has designed something on the, I don't remember. Where is that video? Chhod do ye Excel. Now you sign and go. Time is over. Nothing. English-like language. Now we need to play on this. We need to work out too much on this. Only then it will become more of hands-on. Okay. Now why we have come here? We have come here for the purpose of, deciding the sample size. So once you take the sample size, for those samples, you pick the stock statement, and this color shaded is the only thing you need to feed from the stock statement. That's what Sonawala sir was talking the pre-lunch time. Make analysis. Let this Excel make the analysis. So what analysis you want to make? What is the closing stock? Now only this much you are entering. Rest of that is all formula related. This is formula, and so on and so on and so on. Now once you do this, then you are getting your drawing power, OCC on that day, and sanction limit. This is what banker will show you and say, sir, everything is fine, sir. What is the DP? 900. Okay. Sanction limit 900 only, sir. Now account is operated at 888 only. Fantastic. Now you see here. Yes, this account is good. But it doesn't stop here. Why? Why it doesn't stop here is, if you look at, banker has to follow 15, or they have to follow 20 processes. They have to follow 20 processes. Wherever you see red color is high risk areas. And it says in all these processes, it says they are monitoring it, they are verifying it, they are scrutinizing it. You find all those language in these things. If all that language is there in this, how come these kind of frauds are going on rampantly? You can just see now. Now the analysis. This analysis is branch has to carry out this analysis. I am saying here ratio analysis. If I make the ratio analysis, I have seen the closing stock is, the consumable stock is 50% and finished goods and raw material is very less. That is what Sonawala sir was mentioning. Look at the stock statement, read carefully. Now, if you read too much of carefully, you will find some plant and machinery also finding its place in stock statements, because you need DP, drawing power. Now, who has to read this? It's not the chartered accountant who has to read, it is the management who has to read. If management is reading or not, as per the IFC, they are saying we are reading. But if they are reading it, If there is an error in reading, will it have an impact on P&L and balance sheet? They say not applicable. But when I give IFC statement, what I have to see is are they reading the ratios? Are they interpreting? I have to take 5 top cases. That is what the RBI is saying, take the topmost of 10 cases and see transaction wise. Now that is what I am doing here. And as I do it here, and then I see opening debtors, current month sales, closing debtors is giving this much of collection, and actual collections, this is what again Sonawala sir was talking about. Now if you look into the actual collections are 7,000 and derived collection is 10,000. Now the question is, I'll ask the bank borrower, sir, whether the debtors are correct? Yeah, debtors are correct, sir. Whether the sales is correct? Sales also correct, sir. Then what did you do with this cash that is collected shortage? That Kotak Mahindra account I have opened, sir, because I have EMI loans. It got into that. Did you inform bank? Don't tell me the bank, sir. Is it there? Yes. Now if you go back, dig deeper, then you will find so many accounts which are not told to the banker. How did you find out? Just at simple data analytics, you are able to find out this. Now, come back to the cost of goods sold. Can you calculate cost of goods sold? You have opening, raw material, blah, blah, all that. I have calculated cost of goods sold. I have sales here. I have taken the margin. The margin is just 7%. Gross margin. But you look into that CMA data. Sir, CMA data, gross margin is 45%. Sir, we all do that CMA data now, sir. Where up to what we will do that CMA data, sir? Up to XFD, we will go on dragging it. Drag, aur karo, aur. And we do the CMA data so much. On one side, at one given day, you will be giving loan to the banker. So much of cash is accumulated. And that is the proper appraisal. That is what it is said in that 18 or 25 processes what I have shown. The cash is getting accumulated. No questions are asked by the banker. Now, when 7% gross margin, it is bound to be a going concern getting affected there. No questions are asked. Come. Debtors in days. Sales divided by debtors multiplied by 360, you will get surprised to see average debtors are 358 days. But he says, sir, our debtors is 90 days only. Average stock 600 days, meaning 2 years of stock he is having it. And that's the reason why he has a bulky drawing power. And that is the reason why you have here a fantastic margins here. And when you dig deeper into this, then this is giving too much of evidences. And all those evidences are none other than early warning signals. I think I've given it in your study material also. Early warning signals. What is that early warning signals that we have just now seen? Significant movement in inventories, disproportionate growth in turnover. Significant movement in receivables, disproportionate growth in turnover. Disproportionate increase in current assets, and so on and so on. These are all early warning signals. Red flag, you have to red flag this. After 6 months, you have to convert the branch has to convert into fraud. Inform the RBI. If it doesn't inform to the RBI, you have listened to the Dhananjay Gokhale sir saying you provide 100% on that, even though the account is running good. Now, where do I need to report these things? Come back to the LFAR. Early warning signals. And how do I study all these early warning signals? How we have to study all these early warning signals is, there are 45 early warning signals given
You have a September month drawing power. If you have a September month drawing power, it has a life for next 3 months of time. But am I comparing with and see whether the system is working or not? Sir, the system calculated interest. I am calculating and checking whether the system calculated interest is correct or not. I am also counter verifying here whether the ODCC process of marking DP is greater or not, whether the system is doing it or not. I am doing it and counter verifying and saying, and I am surprised it is not doing it. Because they have a facility to mark drawing power is equal to sanction limit. Finish. Once and for all, they have solved the issue. Shatakoti Daridralaku Ananta Koti Upaya for them. On both sides, for them and for us also. Okay, now coming here. So what we have done is, now what we need to do is, the problem here is, sometimes they say here, they don't write drawing power and limit. Now you have to calculate drawing power and limit in this way on a monthly basis and use VLOOKUP. That is what I have given. And I have used VLOOKUP here to track from that my master table. Because why I have to do it, I told you, for the threshold, above the threshold, each transaction we need to do it. And hence I have done it. And why I am doing it is, and believe it, all this is going to be in the working papers. All workings, you can see all these workings are there in one Excel sheet. And if some regulator comes and asks me, where are your working papers? I'll just hand over this bunch of one Excel to him. End of it. I need not search for, where are the papers? Where are the papers? You know, when we go to the branch audit, what happens, sir? When we go to the branch audit, this is a scribbling pad given to us. Am I right, sir? On this, we write down all papers. What is the guarantee this paper will travel with you at the time of writing the report? In the evening, he will take us to some mandir. Sir, jao udhar mandir le.
In that mandir they will give prasad. Prasad le lo, ek paper le lo, is pe dalo prasad. All papers are gone. Where is the working paper? Working paper nahi hai, sir. Last night we have gone to that beach, no? That beach gone, sir. And even someone saves that working paper. But what will ensure that the medical description kind of noting done by an article student will be understood by the partner? Medical prescription writing will be there, no doctor language. Like that, our article students will write the comments. Who will understand that? Whether that will be an evidence first of all, whether that will be a document first of all. Okay, so we need to have some documentation. I'll come back. What I'm trying to say here is we need to maintain a document. All probably in one place. I'll give that. You may say, you may tell me that you are telling so much. Are you following it? Yes, I am following it. Let me demonstrate. This is my Google. This is my Google Drive. In my Google Drive, you can see two of the branches work papers, integrated work papers. The same word I am using. And you may not believe. And it is updated on 14th April 2021. Yes, the same. For your confidence, let me show this. Index, what are there in this control sheet? Which branch? Who is the partner in charge? What is there in that branch? Reference, number of staff, content, who are all checklists, what work? These are all the works to be done. Quick checklist. Who has done what work? Done by, reviewed by. Who are the team? What work is allocated? Then branch information. Then you have the audit note and so on, dormant accounts data, significant accounts, information required, whether provided. Now, how much information to do this audit? How much information you need to ask? You need to ask 96 points of information. 96 points of information you need to ask him. Otherwise, we can't do this. And having asked, do you have a control on all that? I'll come back. I've just deviated from that stock statement and entered into this. Let me just complete and go back it. Yeah, showing. I'll just come back to this now. Now here, I'll just complete the documentation and then come back. Audit control sheet. Now, I'm asking 96 points of information. Why am I asking? It has to be reported under LFAR 7A. So I am asking this. I have no craze to collect all that information. Okay, I have taken it. Who is going to study this? Which CA will study this? To whom it is allocated? Now, whether information is given? Yes. Now, what is the content of that information? Anything substantial to be reported? Party unit is closed, party Z not submitting, party M restructuring is not as per RBI. These are all the comments made by the concurrent auditor. I have captured it. Now I am asking the branch manager to report. Sir, give your replies on this. And I am asking, give your replies through an audit note. CA firm, bank, address, audit note number 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on, and management reply. Take that management reply. If it is valid, leave it. If it is going to affect your significant impact, now I have tracked all those significant impacts in this. All observations will boil down to a few significant, and I am linking all those to that significant. Then to which LFAR comment it will be? All that observations will be linked to which LFAR? Which point of LFAR? Now whether you have any annexure, whether this reporting have an impact on MOC, LFAR, Ghosh and Jilani committee and any other certificates, have a track here itself. On a daily basis we need to do this in the branch, and not only daily basis we are doing it, put it into a Google Drive. After putting it to a Google Drive, we have linked it to multiple staff in the office, because everyone has to do this. Everyone has to work on the single page integration. Instead of 10 people writing 10 scribbling pads, 10 times reviewing, instead of that, follow this here. Okay, having completed this, let me just continue the stock statement work only. Yeah, stock analysis we have done. Now we have done this analysis also. And now we have seen wherever it is exceeded, let me just see wherever it is exceeding some time. And exceeded. You can see here, when it is exceeded, suddenly an amount has come into this. And this is coming out from a new source, and that's what Sonawala sir was saying. Any huge amount is deposited, ask for the explanation. When suddenly it is going exceeded, suddenly an amount is dropped into it, and we have seen that is none other than a related party loan, has taken a fresh loan and then dropped that amount into this. How do you know that this fellow is a related party? You can find out. You can go to tofler.in, and I have typed this Krishnadan Seeds Private Limited. Why Krishnadan Seeds Private Limited is, this is a case of Krishnadan Bhopal. CBI has filed a case on 8/3/2022. Recently, they have filed a case, and in this, it's a bank fraud, and it is on this seed company. And if you look into the seed companies who are all related, expand, 3 directors, expand, oh my God, and expand, galaxy is forming here, expand. And if I look at these names are there in this CBI report. Now, when are you doing this? After the fraud has happened, after 5 years of the fraud, today you are saying this. If you do after the fraud has taken place, it's called detective. If the same procedure you do it before the account is opened, it is called preventive. The procedure is same, but you are doing it late. Now that is what we need to identify in your internal financial controls. Preventive controls are weak. This control should have been there. That is a value addition we the chartered accountants are going to give from this year onwards. And if we start giving it, RBI will say, as long as this earth is there, till such time bank audits has to be there. And it is for us to prove that we are giving value addition. And we are continue to do yes, no, all right. Then it is time that we need to close our bank audits. Now, how are we doing this? How are we finding out? Are we finding out these things? Yes. Look at on this description of the account, on this account description, I have made a pivot for all these descriptions and used VLOOKUP to find out whose account number is. Then we have seen surprise to see that these are all none other than the director's relatives. Similarly, I have completed this, and then last term loan analysis. Yeah. Term loan analysis, you can find out very simple, Date of sanction, as on the date of this audit, it is 159 EMIs. As on that, and today 159. How is this? Dated if. But bank is saying only 60 EMIs. And this is a report given by the bank. And this is what I am trying to find out. Okay, if this is a case, let me work backwards. If this is the EMI, if this is the number of EMIs, and if this is your EMI amount, what could be the number of EMIs in the system? When I started working backwards, here I'll make this as goal seek. Okay, it's taking time. I have to catch a flight at 6. So when I've done this goal seek on this with all these formulas, it is giving 182 EMI should have been there. But whereas plain reading 152, but EMIs it is saying 60 only. Whatever it is, I have just noted down, I've shared with you. Even I'll share this file also with you for your practice. Meaning that now it is saying daily marking of NPS. Daily marking of NPS, you are doing very good, fantastic. But you are going on tampering the master data. Whatever daily marking is useless for us. Now, when you are tampering the data, what controls you have? Now, when you are tampering the period and extending the period, it will come under restructuring and refacing. When it comes under restructuring and refacing, are you providing the discounted cash flow for the amount lost and asking the promoter to bring in as a margin money for it? No questions are asked. So this is what I thought I can share with you with the limited amount of time. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Yeah. Can I close this?
On behalf of Bangalore branch of SAIC of ICAI, I thank you, sir, for the wonderful session on data analytics. You made us to remember LFAR, internal financial control or financial reporting are to be strengthened using effective data analytics. I request our chairman, CA Premnath D, to present a memento to the speaker as a token of his appreciation and gratitude. Let's break for tea and rejoin again at 4:30 sharp for the next technical session by CA Vital.